What is up, gamers? Welcome to episode 13 of For Gamers Only. I am Glenn Gordon, and with me I have the two amigos from different continents. Ben Shillabeer Hall, first of all, from the UK. What's up, dude?
Not much, really. It's been an interesting week. How's your week been?
It's been interesting. I'm making interesting decisions. I'm actually thinking about going abroad to Japan to teach English.
Oh,
Which
good,
is
good luck.
Thank you. I think Dane's doing that in Korea. Dane from
Yeah.
PlayStation Universe. If you listen to RDGH, you may have heard of Dane a few times. But enough about me. What have you been?
Technically, he was the original host of RDGH originally, wasn't he?
Of RDGH, yes, Racial Diversity Gaming Hour. That's the show that we used to be.
Yeah. Before we
in the
became
day.
this.
Back in the day. What have you been up to?
Not much, really, to be honest, really, if I'm honest.
No,
Just usual stuff.
just
I've
usual.
got two reviews up on, one review on PSU, another one on the way on PSU. Apart from that, not much.
Mm-hmm.
Boring.
Dane. Ben.
I'm Dane now.
Ben
Buy my
and,
book.
Ben and Gary are writers for PlayStation Universe. And so Ben does reviews for them from time to time. And speaking of Gary, he is also here from Russia, but not really from Utah. What's up, Gary?
Not much, man. How's it going?
Pretty good. I am excited because I managed somehow to register for the E3 experience, the Sony E3 experience. They did that just last year for the first time. And it went over pretty well. It was cool. They had it in the theaters. They had E3. And they gave out like a couple little codes and a poster to people who came. It was nice. It was nice. What about, I don't know if it's in the UK. Gary, have you thought about registering for that?
No, not really.
No? Oh, we've had this conversation before.
Yeah.
Because you were worried about fanboys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and why go to a theater when I can just watch it at home?
Fanboys ruin everything.
Eating food in my underwear on my chair.
True, but I will say, I went last year, as I said, and it's just a different atmosphere. Like, you know how you can sit in your underwear at home and listen to a song, right? But
Yeah.
it feels totally different when you go to the concert and when you have the audience around you enjoying the same thing with you. It feels completely different. It's that sort of thing. And at least for me, at least in my theater, you know, there were people who called out, but no one was antagonistic. Everyone was there. Because, I mean, yeah, fanboys are dumb, and I wouldn't put it past fanboys to, you know, try and stir things up just because. But, I mean, why do that? I mean, you're stuck there for however long the thing is. I guess you can leave if you feel like it, but, you know, that's a huge waste of time. So, especially for a company that you don't want to see. And again, I wouldn't put it past fanboys, but I don't know. For me, if you can go, I think it's worth it to go. It was really nice. They gave you some. Last year, they gave us they announced Borderlands Battlefield Hardline. That's what I'm trying to get out of my mouth. Battlefield Hardline, and they gave us the beta code for that. They gave us the alpha code for Destiny, like a poster and 30 days of music unlimited or stuff like that. Nothing crazy, but I don't know.
I don't even know if they're doing one here in Utah, though, so I don't even know if I'll be able to go.
I'm told that there's one in every state. At least one in every state. Although the site was extremely slow. It was kind of tough for me to get registered because I went there and it was available. And then it was so slow that by the time my page loaded, they were sold out. And so I just had to keep refreshing, and I finally got in. But that's that. I'm going to E3 experience. So
I'm jealous.
are you jealous? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, at least you get to watch it in your underwear with food.
Yeah.
So
Well,
there's-
it'll be 2:30 a.m. So
oh, that's true too.
All of them, not just.
That's true too. Okay, guys, so we're starting to talk about E3, and last week on episode 12, we started to talk about the E3 conferences themselves, what each company, each of the larger companies anyway, is going to offer. I don't know, at least for me, I'm not looking too hard on the EA and the Ubisoft, well, maybe the Ubisoft, but the other the other conferences, I think a lot of people overlook. Because, for the most part, all the information comes in the big conferences from Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo, with the exception, perhaps, of some of the PC-based games. So, I don't know. Do you guys agree with that?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, I think we'll still get some big games revealed from those studios like Bethesda and, well, not Konami anymore, but anyway, Bethesda, EA, Activision, they're still having their own conferences, and yeah, they'll probably still show off the same games that they're going to show off in their press conferences, but I still think they'll give us some surprises.
Oh, who cares about Bethesda? So this week we're actually going to start talking about the hardware that's going to be at E3, but before we do that, let's take a look at a few tweets that we got. The Fonz says he's thinking about getting a tattoo related towards gaming. Any suggestions, and what would you guys get?
Wait, that one more time?
He wants to get a tattoo about gaming.
Don't do it.
Don't do it?
No.
Why not?
Gaming tattoos are never a good tattoo.
Like what? What do you mean?
Sometimes you're just going to get a tattoo, and eventually you're going to hate that game or that studio that made that game, and you're just going to get pissed off that you have that tattoo.
I have one for him, though.
Okay.
The N7 logo. From Mass Effect.
Unless they release Mass Effect 4 and everybody hates it, and
now,
it's a sellout game, and then everybody hates the friend.
If you're getting a tattoo based on an existing franchise, you cannot go the route of, oh, well, I will wait until they continue to release more of them, because eventually, in some way, it's going to stop or it's going to change. Like, that's inevitable, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't always change for the better.
It doesn't.
Like, people probably are pissed off they have a Konami tattoo right now.
Okay, you have a point there. So let's rephrase it. If that weren't a problem, if there were any gaming tattoo that you would recommend for him, ignoring the possibility of the studio doing something stupid, what do you think you'd do? I'd do an N7 logo. I don't do tattoos really, but I'd get an N7 logo.
I don't know. The only tattoo I'd ever get is a Batman tattoo.
That's a good one. Batman Arkham Knight, right?
Yeah. Just really depends on what game or game franchise you like the most, and just get a tattoo of that. I know a lot of people have awesome Dragon Ball Z tattoos. Obviously, people get the Zelda tattoos and Mario.
Of course. So, honestly, I'm an anime fan, and there's an anime I love called Fairy Tail. And the symbol for Fairy Tail makes... I mean, I can't really describe it on audio, but quite frankly, the symbol for Fairy Tail would make an absolutely perfect tattoo. If I were ever to get a tattoo, I'd probably get that one, with the N7 logo following closely behind. Ben, what do you think, dude?
I would go with the crystal symbol from Final Fantasy, the like blue gem, because that way, if anyone said, if you do get off the games, it still looks like a pretty crystal. So
that's true. That's good planning, good foresight. So if for some reason Square Enix just screws up Final Fantasy irreparably,
13.
Yeah, that was my first Final Fantasy. They're lucky. It's thanks to you that I came back for buying me Final Fantasy X. But at least, hey, now it's not a Final Fantasy tattoo. Now it's a crystal. So there you go.
Look, it's just a blue crystal. Yeah.
You heard that little Skypey sound in the background. Gary will be right back. In the meantime, speaking of Final Fantasy, Square Enix is going to have its next active time report on Thursday, June 4. That's this week. And according to GameSpot, the Final Fantasy XV director Hajime Tabata will provide, quote, development updates And global marketing manager will be there, Akio Ofuji. And it's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on Twitch. The show starts at 6 a.m. Pacific, which is 9 a.m. Eastern, which is 2 p.m. in UK.
Yay!
So
See, this is why I like Square.
if you are looking forward to Final Fantasy 15, I am definitely looking forward to Final Fantasy 15. If you go on YouTube, just check out videos of some of the boss fights and just look at the draw distances, look at how things exist in the world. Look how there's one boss fight in particular where a move was used and the boss burned up the ground and the ground just stayed charred. It didn't, I'm burnt, now I'm gonna heal myself. No, it stayed burnt. And it looked absolutely gorgeous.
That's the Ramu summon.
Yes, that's the one. That is the one. That was... It's a stunning looking game, and I'm excited for it. So I am definitely going to be tuning in. I might be working on Thursday, but I'll check it out after work. And the active time report for Square Enix.
Chances are they'll announce a date for the patch, because they're patching the demo.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll probably be a date at that active time report for the people who own the demo.
Just as a little aside, Square Enix is going to have its own press conference. Alongside the likes of Ubisoft, Bethesda, EA, Square Enix will have its own. I don't think they had one last year, did they?
No, I don't think they
Square
did.
Enix didn't have its own conference, so it's good to see that they're doing enough. They're releasing enough stuff here. They're getting into this enough to have its own press conference. So
I kind of feel bad for them though in a way because originally it was supposed to be the same time as Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
So they went, okay, sorry Nintendo, we'll delay our press conference so you can have yours on time.
Right.
Now Nintendo's not doing it.
Welcome back, Gary.
Welcome back.
Sorry, Ben, you were saying, continue.
So they rescheduled all the E3 stuff, and then Nintendo cancelled anyway.
Nintendo. Nintendo. Anyway.
The Direct, so...
Yeah, they have their Direct thingy going on.
Yeah, but they were going to be at E3 this year because Nintendo and Square were going to conflict with each other at E3 this year. Mm-hmm. That's why Square delayed by an hour.
Yeah. We kind of veered off of tweets here. Let's finish this up. Fonz sent another one. He said, Uncharted 4 hits March 31st, 2016. Do you feel Naughty Dog is making the right decision to release it on that date? Go ahead, Gary.
I was going to say it hasn't been confirmed for that date. That's just when the financial year, I think, ends, that they said it was going to come out at. It's going to come out before that date, pretty much.
Now, it's interesting because this tweet was the first that I heard of any specific date. I heard that it was going to come out early next year. I didn't hear a specific date. The only specific date I've heard lately was for the Ratchet & Clank game, which I think was like March 29 or something like that, of next year. So I was surprised and I looked at it. I didn't see, I really don't see an official release date. I just see 2016. So you may have some faulty information there, Fonz. Is that the right decision to release it around that time period, though? I don't think it's a bad idea. You were going to say something there, Gary.
No, go ahead.
I don't think it's a bad idea. Like you said, it's around the time the fiscal year ends, so it's a good place to start. It's generally speaking, it's out of the way of all the big conferences, so you don't have a lot of buzz going on around it. And if this year is kind of a foreshadowing of next year, well, chances are there aren't going to be a whole lot of crazy titles coming out at that time in the year. You know, look at this year. Xbox doesn't have any exclusives for the first half of the year. PlayStation had just a couple. An Uncharted 4 for that time next year might be just the perfect boost to PlayStation 4's lineup. So I think that's a decent decision. What about you guys?
I agree with you. I think it's the best move to make. I mean, why share profits with other games coming out this holiday season? I mean...
Exactly. I mean...
You're releasing your game and you have Call of Duty, you have Assassin's Creed, you have Halo 5, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Like, why share all the profits? You know, people can't just go out and buy 10 games. You know, they're going to have to pick and choose. So
Exactly. We've said before that competition kind of drives this industry, and it does. But if you're a publisher, or if you're a developer, that competition can harm your sales because you're not competing. You can't like change the price. Everything kind of comes out at $60. And yes, you can do less, but it's probably not smart to in some situations, especially for a AAA game like Uncharted 4. So it would be good for that developer in particular to avoid that, what's the word I just said? I'm so tired. I'm sorry. I was with it. I was with it until like halfway through the sentence, and then I think the sentence just got away from me. Competition. That's it. My goodness. I did go to work today. I am a little crazy. So it might be better for them to avoid that competition, especially for a great game like Uncharted 4. That will ensure that it gets the most attention at that time of the year. But Ben's super quiet.
I agree with both of you about Uncharted being released. It's that time period, to be honest, for the same reasons. But everyone knows it's secretly going to be released on January 23rd.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I know it's a Saturday, but it's just going to be released on that day.
Why that day?
Because, it's Sony's birthday present for me.
Just,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, they're like, Chili's birthday, we've got to give him something.
Here's a free copy. There you go.
No, I'll have to buy it still.
Oh, okay, you have to buy it. But you're the only one who can, or?
No, it's just that they're like, we'll release it on that day.
Let's all celebrate Ben's birthday, everybody.
Yeah, let's celebrate by selling him a game. Well, remember last year I bought people presents for my birthday, so...
That's true. You did. That was super nice of you.
So, yeah.
The gift of giving.
Might you then.
Hey, you want to... What?
It was announced on NeoGAF pretty recently that at E3, Sony's going to show at least 2 games behind closed doors. And what we mean by that is only certain members of the press. It's not going to be part of the any conference. It's just going to be Sony's little thing to the press, which is interesting because the press are then made to sign a non-disclosure agreement, meaning they cannot talk about the game until a certain time, which is usually launch. So they're going to show this exclusively to some members of the press who cannot talk about it, who cannot use it in any way, who cannot publish it, which makes me wonder, what's the point? Is this a good idea? I didn't explain it in that kind of detail on Twitter because of, I guess, the character limit, but Trevor Buckout, he said, I know I mispronounced your name, I'm sorry. At Eternity 2009, he said, don't see a problem with it. But, I mean, I kind of don't get it. I mean, I guess I don't see a problem with it, but why do that? If it's ready to be shown, then show it, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I talked about this last E3 as well. What's the point of showing it behind closed doors when you want people to talk about it? Why hide it from them?
I don't know. And I mean, if you're going to show it to anybody, if you're going to show it to members of the press, why force them to keep quiet about it? If it's for testing, then you can hire people to do that. There are organizations especially for testing games. Why the press? I guess I don't understand. I guess Trevor's right in that I guess there might not be a problem with it. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't know. There must be some insider thing that we don't know about.
What do you think, Ben? You've got connections.
I would say it's probably because it's not footage ready to show the public, because they don't want to show footage that's not finished. It makes the product look bad. So by having it behind the show closed doors as test footage and not actual official footage, if there's any issues, they can go, well, it's really early days, and that's why they don't want to show it to everyone.
Okay, but then why show it to these people?
Because they want to show it off. They want to go, look, this is what we're planning to do.
Why not use...
This is what we're aiming for.
Why not use a focus group? Why general members of the press? Why risk getting it leaked? Because yes, these people signed a non-disclosure agreement. That doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to leak it. So why risk it?
All the time in those...
Say that again?
I was just gonna say those things always get leaked when it's behind closed doors. How many times has Square Enix done behind closed doors, revealing their games and showing off new trailers, and every time they get leaked?
Exactly.
I remember when Square Enix used to have freaking airport type security to get in for that sort of thing. They used to have full metal scanners to stop people from bringing their phones to get leaked footage.
So why risk it with members of the press instead of using something like a dedicated focus group, instead of using something internal? You know, why do that?
That gets leaked anyway. So remember the whole Mass Effect thing? We know about Mass Effect 4 because of the internal leak of the focus group and the
So are you
survey.
saying that Sony's counting on the fact that some of this stuff might get leaked? That's what they're hoping for?
Of course.
Yeah?
Of course they are. It's it's good for them to it gives them a side block of saying the fact that it's not ready to be shown to public yet. At the same time, they can go, look at our sexy game. You want it, don't you? You wish you were there. Look at it. Oh, it's so sexy. But you can't see it. You can't see only these people.
It's
like if any of you ever watched an episode of South Park's Cartman's Land where everyone wants to go into the ride because they can't get to it. They're like, oh, we want to go. We want to go into Cartman Land because we can't get into Cartman Land. But as soon as people start, it won't get as excited. By having less people, more people get excited because they think, what's in there? Why can't I see it?
So they're kind of doing this for general PR, for rumors starting, that sort of thing.
Probably.
We're 20 minutes into this, guys. I'm going to just push ahead forward. I apologize for that. Just a quick...
I'm going to say Last Guardian.
Last Guardian. I'd love to see some Last Guardian. But
Okay.
we're going to talk about that probably the weekend of E3. We're going to do an episode where we just kind of do some predictions. But for right now, I just want to push ahead because I want to keep these things to about an hour. Because those 2-hour ones, they're kind of long. It's nice to have something more digestible, don't you think?
I agree.
I agree too. Just a quick heads up before we get into the hardware. Xbox One, if you're interested in an Xbox One, especially a white one, the Sunset Overdrive bundle was out around October. That's what I bought. It's a white console. It's a white and black console. There are black accents with a white controller and a copy of Sunset Overdrive available for download. That is gone. There is a new white Xbox One bundle on the market right now with the Master Chief Collection. And you can get the bundle with the white console for $349 for a limited time if you want an Xbox One. In particular, if you want a white Xbox One, now's the time. Act soon because I have no idea when this thing goes away. Let's talk about the consoles. And I'm looking in particular at an article by idigitaltimes.com. And here's the first... let me just go through this just a little bit. The first line says, with E3 2015 coming up on June 16, actually it's June 15 and 16, it's hard not to begin dusting off the old Xbox One versus PS4 debates. I disagree, but granted. After all, this showdown has more or less defined E3 for 2 years now. In 2013, all eyes were on the hardware as fans chose side, debated the merits of DDR3 and GDDR5 memory as though they knew what that meant. Probably, the undertones of that sentence are probably the best undertones of this whole article, the best point of this whole article. No one knows what this stuff is, yet they debate it like it's a religion. 2014 saw 2 companies unveil game lineups that offered little in the way of blockbuster exclusives. I don't know how the would you guys say that there was a big amount of competition between the 2 companies for 2014 last year? Because, I mean, Xbox was doing kind of its own thing. It was like, oh, we screwed up last year. Let's focus on this year for us. I don't think they were so preoccupied with, yay, Sony, we're better than you. I don't know. What did you guys think?
I think there is. You can easily see it in the NPD numbers and their responses to those NPD numbers. Whenever Microsoft wouldn't win the month, they just give like a quick little sentence of something, where Sony gives like this huge paragraph, and then when Microsoft will win, it'd be the opposite. And I don't know. To me, I think they're not out about it. They're not. Well, what am I trying to say? They're not showing it off in public as much, but I think there's still that kind of animosity between the two. They're just not attacking each other head on like they used to.
Well, I wouldn't call what you just described animosity. I'd call that PR. Because, I mean, if you lost the month, what do you gain as a company by saying, hey, we lost the month? You
Yeah,
know?
but you still got second place. You still did good. Right? It doesn't always have to be negative. I mean,
Well, you got second place out of 2. Because remember, Nintendo's kind of, it's competition, but it's kind of doing its own thing. So if you're just counting Xbox and PlayStation, they got second out of 2. What does the company gain by saying, we're second best? I mean,
well,
if
your
I'm...
numbers are constantly increasing, though. Talk about that. Talk about how well your games are doing on the system.
Oh, they do. They're always like, oh, but look what we did.
He was outselling the PS4 version on Xbox One. Say that.
They do say that. They say that all the time. They'll say, oh, or they won't say it, but they'll lose a month or something, and they'll say, oh, but combined, Xbox One and Xbox 360 sold more games than any other brand or something like to that effect. They do that. They just don't release the number. And quite frankly, even when they do win, as of late, they haven't released any specific numbers. They haven't said, oh, we've sold this many consoles this month to win.
Well, that's the bad thing. You can't just say you're doing well and not show the numbers. That's like me saying the same thing. I can just make up whatever I want without backing it up.
Well, let me ask you this. When was the last time PlayStation gave us a figure?
I have no idea. I'm talking about all three of them. Well, Nintendo likes to give figures. They give figures for their system.
Well, what I'm trying to get at is I don't think it's a necessity. I mean, I guess for such a polarized industry as this, I guess people like to have those figures. But why should Microsoft and Sony publicize their sales information? I mean, what company... I don't see that much in technology. I see, yeah, hey, we're doing well, yeah, we're not doing so well. And sometimes they'll release figures as part of their advertising, as part of their campaign. Hey, we're selling this much. We must be doing something, right? Come buy our product. But I don't see them generally say, oh, we're selling this exact amount. We've sold this amount at this time. We're selling this amount next. I don't see a lot of companies go out and name their numbers at all these different times. I think I see it the most over here. At least I see it counted upon the most in the video game industry. I think because the two audiences are so polarized.
Last we knew was about a month or so ago. Sony was 23 million.
About a month or so ago, and before that, we had a figure at like March or something, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so between March, April, May, so it was a couple months. So I mean, even Sony doesn't do it all the time, and I don't think they should.
Yeah, but then it's a lot more than Microsoft, where I can't even remember an actual number from Microsoft.
No, the last number we got from Microsoft, I believe, was November. We got like a 10 million at around November.
Yeah,
and
which
then,
was 10 million shipped, I think it was.
Yes, and then we got a sold through number around the end of the year or something to that effect, and then we haven't had anything since. And
my guess is Sony is just waiting until next month, this month, to give a bigger number again.
And well,
yeah, what was the point of giving a number every month when you've got a big E3 when they could go on stage? We sold 25 millions. Whoa.
Yeah, or they might not do that at all. I mean,
oh, they will.
It's not. I think people look into that and read it the wrong way, because when companies announce these figures, they're not doing it because they have to announce it to the public. To their shareholders, sure, yes, but to the public, no, not really. I mean, I think they're doing that just for PR. And so if I'm Xbox and I'm behind, I'm not getting any PR by saying they're not under any obligation to announce their numbers to us. It's just for PR, and so they're not getting any positive PR by saying we're in the back.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, you're right. But still, I don't know. I still feel like there is that competition going on. We just don't hear about it as much anymore.
Oh, I'm sure there is. I mean, I think that it would be foolish to think that at least some of the positivity that we're seeing between the two is not just PR. You know, it's not, hey, when they get together and when they look good together and when they're working together, well, they're not working together, but when they're nice to each other, it reflects positively. Because then the audience sees, oh, look at Microsoft putting out little green things saying congratulations on the launch, Sony. It's not, Microsoft's so nice. You know, that looks good for the company. So I think that definitely.
But there's other people who will say, oh, they're just saying that because they're losing and they just want to save face.
Sure. Well, you know, people are going to read into it however they see fit, however floats their boat, however strokes their ego, you know, whatever they want to get out of it, they'll get from it. But there's definitely part of this that's PR. There's definitely part of it, I think, that probably a smaller part that's genuine from the individuals in the company. Probably not as the company itself, because as the company, it's competition. You don't want the other guys to do better than you. You might acknowledge that they're good for the industry, but you want to be on top, right? So yeah, I agree. There's definitely competition there that we're probably not seeing. I just don't think it's as volatile as everyone seems to believe.
Agreed. People always read into things more than they should.
Sure. So this whole article from iDigital Times, it's probably a good readout. I might post it on our Twitter. I think that they're talking about how the consoles were boring, their stale lineups or whatever. I think that people's expectations for these consoles are a little too high. They're saying things like, oh, well, you know, it's been a few years and we haven't been wowed yet. We haven't seen all the innovation yet. And I think that, you know, when people release new generations of stuff, they expect it to be like, oh, now you can make your TV float in the air with the swipe of a finger, you know, and they don't see the smaller innovations that happen. But I think that as far as the lineups, yes, there hasn't been anything spectacular, but I think that's partly because the consoles are so similar. And now we get more crossover titles, more multiple platform titles than exclusive titles. So I think that it's true that in a way we're kind of missing the craziness of the... It's like if you're a wrestling fan, you had the Attitude Era. It's like when it was Sega and Nintendo, that was the Attitude Era. And now we're in the PG era, so to speak. So yeah. I guess it crosses bounds. Speaking of Nintendo, the NX.
Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Well, see, they say that, but where is Sega now? Oh.
Bam! Slap in the face.
Drop the mic. Nintendo, there's been a little report, don't take it with a grain of salt, okay? But the Nintendo NX, which is said to be Nintendo's next console after the Wii U, the report says it's going to use an Android operating system. And I don't know how reliable this is. The article I'm looking at says it comes from Nikkei, which is a, quote, a reputable Japanese business newspaper. And it says that they've reported via an inside source that the console will run on an Android OS. The last console, I think, to run on an Android OS was the Ouya, I believe. Unless the Steam boxes aren't running on Android. They're running on Linux and Windows. So, that's interesting. But the article, Hardcore Gamer wrote this. It says, it could mean that the console is not meant as a replacement for the Wii U, but instead a new venture for Nintendo entirely. And, I mean, the whole idea of Android powering a video game console, I think it's been on the Ouya and it hasn't been too much farther. I think a couple other of those little micro consoles that came out tried to use it. But, I mean, do you think that something like Android could power a full-fledged video game console, or do you think that this might be a separate thing for Nintendo?
It's possible, but Android isn't the most secure platform in the world, so I wouldn't recommend it because of the piracy issues.
I agree. Android is open source, so that does make it less secure automatically. Which is part of what's giving me pause, which is part of why I'm saying take this with a grain of salt, because it might not be true at all. I don't see why. I mean, I know Nintendo's been making odd decisions lately. I've said that myself, but I don't see why they would go with a less secure system, especially when they've had it so closed up for so many years. I mean, look at the Wii. The Wii U is location locked. I mean, they kind of have their fists around their properties right now. So, I don't know. Do you think that it's possible that they might be using Android?
Well, it's possible. I mean, I think it's more of like if I was on Nintendo's thinking, I would be like, to me, I would say this is going to help them get back a lot of third-party support for the consoles. Obviously, the last 3 consoles they've made has pretty much just been them internally working on everything, as third parties continue to leave and not support their systems. And I think this is going to help.
Okay. Well, the NX, stay tuned. I'm not sure if the NX will be at E3. I mean, they could mention it. They could kind of give an update.
They've already said they won't be there.
They've said that it won't be there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured that it might be too soon. Probably next year we'll probably see something. I don't see them bringing up NX at any conference this year. I think it'll be next year that we start seeing stuff about NX. Probably, I don't see them doing anything with it until they give it a name. Let's put it that way. Until they stop calling it NX.
Also, a lot of people keep thinking that it's just going to be like a mobile system, where it's just going to accept mobile games and nothing else. That's not what it's going to do. It's just going to let them easily be able to convert stuff over that way. It's not specifically designed only to run games that can only run on mobile games or mobile consoles right now.
Yeah, well, in this industry, anytime a developer or manufacturer takes a step towards something mobile, oh, that's it. That's the end of the consoles. You know, they're gone. It's all mobile from here on out. And it's like, no,
that's not what this means.
No, that's not it at all.
You'll still probably get amazing looking games.
Absolutely.
Says you know that.
I'm interested in what they'll be doing with the NX, because one of the complaints with the original Wii was that it was not up to par with the power in the PS3 and the Xbox 360. Wii U kind of solved that problem. Things are a lot better. I'm interested to see what they do with the NX. Will they keep it in that, cheap to manufacture, low feature kind of thing that they have going? Or will they try and go all out? I see them going with the former. So stay tuned for information on the NX. I'm sure we'll get more information as the year goes by, slowly but surely. But I'd say don't expect anything for the rest of the year as far as big conferences go. At Microsoft's press conference on July 15th, I think it's at 9:30 a.m. Pacific, something like that. HoloLens is going to be making an appearance. If you do not know what HoloLens is, think of Google Glass, but different. Basically what HoloLens is, it's like this big old headset that you wear, slightly more stylish than Google Glass, except for the gigantic headband around it that makes you look like an alien. And basically it puts an overlay over what you see. You see through it and you can see little digital slabs. You can see things that no one else sees. You can see a big old globe in the middle of the room, and you can use your hands to interact with it. I think that's one thing that's kind of different about HoloLens versus Google Glass. You can actually use your hands to interact with what you're seeing. So you can put a movie on your wall, basically, and only you will see it, but you can put a movie on your wall, and you can press play, and then you could be walking from another room to another room, and you can say, follow me, and then the movie will pop up off of the wall, and it'll follow you as you walk somewhere, and you can just use your hand and just pop it somewhere else. The technology is really cool. I am pretty sure that I saw that there were some problems with it. I think the field of view was really small, so that causes some problems. In the demo, I'm going to post a tweet and show you guys this demo. In order to get to the part with the HoloLens demonstration, Here are the instructions. On the video, after you click play, you'll see a box at the bottom of the video that says Table of Contents. Click it and scroll down to number 57. It's called Demo Holographic Home, and you'll see a demo of what HoloLens can do. You should watch it. It's pretty cool technology. I showed this to you guys already, right?
Yeah,
Yes, you have.
last week.
Okay.
Or whenever. It was a couple of weeks ago, I think.
Now, I'm pretty sure I read that this is going to be at Microsoft's E3 conference. So what do you think, what kind of impact do you think this could have on gaming?
It could have a big impact, or it could have a very negative impact. If you look at the technology, you got the HoloLens, you got Project Morpheus, and Oculus Rift, right?
Sure.
Morpheus
And the
are
Via thingy as well, remember? Via? I don't know what it's called. There's one by Samsung as well.
okay. Well, those three are pretty much the same, and then you have HoloLens, which is a little bit different. And if you're going to use it in games, it might give developers a lot of conflict of whether or how to, I guess, implement both into their game. I don't know how radically different the technology is, but from what I'm seeing, it is pretty different. HoloLens isn't exactly virtual reality, whereas the Morpheus is saying that it is, along with Oculus Rift. So from a developer perspective, I can see if I'm making a game, it might cause a problem because now I might have to make sure that it works a specific way on this console and a completely different way on this other console.
So you do bring up an interesting point, because Oculus Rift and Project Morpheus are virtual reality. Meaning you put it on and there is your original reality disappears and your new reality is what you're seeing through this device. HoloLens is more of augmented reality, which is it takes what you're already seeing and adds stuff to it. So these are more like augmented reality goggles. And I mean, I think I could see some gaming applications for, like, you remember the PlayStation TV that they released, and you could put on your 3D glasses and, you know, give a friend the same, and player one can be seeing one image and player two can be seeing an entirely different image. I mean, if you have two HoloLenses, I can see them doing the same thing with gaming. You know, player one, you know, looking at the same screen, looking at the same feed. Player one can see player one's screen and player two can see player two's screen. Other than that, I mean, I'm wondering, unless you can put software on it and you can run a game directly from the device, then that's one thing. But I don't know.
I mean, maybe you can use it as, you know, a remote play type of thing, but, you know, instead of sitting in your room watching, you can go somewhere else, move a screen over there and just play that way.
Okay.
But, yeah, as far as games go, it'll have to be a specific game that does it. And I don't see them making, you know, a Halo game that utilizes it or any other type of game unless it's specifically designed to work with HoloLens.
No. The fact that you can use voice commands and hand gestures with the thing does offer some kind of control. I mean, look, it's kind of what they're doing with Kinect. Although I don't know how accurate this HoloLens thing will be, but that's kind of what they're doing with Kinect. If they try and force that into gaming, I think that's a mistake. They made that mistake with Kinect. They did it the wrong way, and so now people don't trust Kinect. But it does offer some interesting technology. And the only thing is, I think, especially compared to Google Glass, people say Google Glass looks dorky, and in my opinion it does. But this looks freaking ridiculous. They talk about it like they expect you to just wear it 24/7. And I think that if you did, you'd probably go insane, or you'd look insane for sure. Because it's this gigantic thing that wraps around your entire head. And I think they expect you to live in that reality all the time. And I think that that's going to take some getting used to. I think it's an interesting idea, but they'll have to be careful with their execution. You guys saw the demo. What did you think of HoloLens, just in general?
No, I thought it was pretty cool. Like if I had an Xbox, I'd probably buy it if the price was right. But I think it's pretty cool. It does have that appeal of wearing it all the time, and I know a lot of people will probably do that, and it will pretty much ruin their lives.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a good thing. But
no.
it's a good way to escape from things, I guess you can say.
As that typing sound that you hear is me, I am actually sending this tweet right now. I want you guys to see this HoloLens demo. It's pretty good. I think you'll be impressed with the technology. I just hope that they use it the right way. Project Morpheus, speaking of virtual and augmented reality, Project Morpheus is now using HRTF audio, according to Unity. And if you don't know what HRTF audio, it means head-related transfer function. And basically, it determines where sound plays in the space around you. For instance, say you're looking straight ahead and there's a monkey in front of you, and the monkey's making noise. And you turn your head to the right. Well, the monkey hasn't moved, it's still in front of you, you're just not looking. Oh, I turned my actual head to the right, so if I sounded weird for a second, sorry. The monkey's still in the same place. You're just not looking at it. The monkey's still making noise. Your left ear is facing the monkey. So you should hear the sound from the monkey in your left ear. It shouldn't still be coming from in front of you. That's what HRTF is responsible for. It's responsible for putting sounds in the right place around you. So, the device will be able to sense which direction you're looking and so forth. So, according to Unity, HRTF audio is a thing. I believe that it was announced for the Oculus Rift, which is now owned by Facebook, which I think is an interesting thing because now Facebook is trying to make it a general all-around device, which I just think is not going to happen. But good news for Project Morpheus. I think that's necessary. I mean, if Sony's going to go all the way with this thing as so far as to use, PlayStation Move so you can get your hands in there and whatnot, it makes sense. It just makes sense if you're not looking in the same direction, If your ears are turning in different directions, then the sound around you should move accordingly. So that's what that is about. Do you guys think that Project Morpheus is going to make an appearance at E3?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Did we see it last year? I don't believe we saw it last year. I think it just was mentioned for a moment.
Yeah, they revealed it, I think, at GDC, and they only mentioned it at E3.
So, what do you think? Demos on the floor?
All the demos.
All the demos.
Yeah, I think it's going to have a bigger impact than we might think it will.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. I hope that this thing goes well. My biggest concern is still the price, and whether or not
I think it's not going to be that expensive, actually.
Well, it needs to be priced in the right way, because if people don't buy it, then developers aren't going to make content that uses it, So, unless it's just a universal thing that everyone can use, I mean, fine. But, like for example, the Vita, everything's compatible with remote play on the Vita on the PlayStation 4. If they do it like that, then sure, I think developers might try it out. But if it's priced in a way that people don't see value in spending money on it, well, I mean, I think they might have problems with that. They've had problems with similar situations in the past, so they'll definitely have problems with this.
I want to say it's going to be about $200 to $250.
Do you think that's worth it?
Well, yeah. Well, you got a price. You got to think about the screens and stuff like that, and the hardware in it. Yeah, I don't think that's too bad.
Okay.
Because you're pretty much buying another 1080. Because it's two 1080p screens. And remember, you don't have to use the Morpheus for gaming. You can use it for a normal screen if you want to.
I'm trying to figure out why I would want to, though.
Well, you could so that HoloLens, you can sit in your room, watch the Morpheus.
Sure.
Or if you just want to watch, because it'd be like a cinema screen on your. So it'd be like a massive widescreen, won't it?
Well,
yeah, it won't be to you. It'll be a virtual widescreen.
It wouldn't. I'd almost think it wouldn't be a screen. I'd think it would just be what's in front of you. Well, a HoloLens definitely is a screen. Like, you can take the HoloLens screen thing and make it as big as you want, but with this, you can't see anything else. It's just what's in your face.
But weird technologies that makes it. It's hard to describe. You can have virtual. You can have glasses like that where it has like a cinema effect. Where, although it's a small screen, actually, when you're actually wearing it, it makes it look like it's actually full size cinema. it tricks your brain into thinking it's a bigger screen than it actually is.
Wearable technology is becoming the fad as far as development goes. We've got Apple Watches, we've got things that you wear on your face. I think the question that a lot of people are asking is, where is the line? Like, at what point is it like, okay, this is too much. I'm connected to so much stuff. There's stuff on my face. There's stuff on my wrist. Like, what point?
Where's when we get the T-shirt with a TV on it, then we
TV T-shirts. Hey, come play Smash Brothers Brawl on my stomach. Like, oh my goodness.
Amazing.
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised. There are flexible screens out there, so you never know.
Trousers with Wi-Fi.
Trousers with Wi-Fi. Oh my goodness.
Well, I already had a pair. I used to have a hoodie that had a radio in it, so you could listen to music.
You know, personal Wi-Fi hotspots have been a thing. I think Verizon sold some, AT&T sold some. You take a little thing, you put it in your pocket, and you have Wi-Fi that follows you everywhere.
Oh, what you do is just sew it into your trousers.
Just sew it into your trousers, and you have Wi-Fi pants. That's it.
The future is now.
Wi-Fi pants. All right. Ben, I am going to give this one to you, since you brought it up to me last week. If I can open Skype, that would be fantastic. There you go, buddy. He brought up this story about Facebook and Oculus, since we were just talking about Oculus. You got it?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Basically, the founder of Oculus, the founder of virtual reality glasses, make Oculus Rift, acquired by Facebook. But it was a lot of money they've paid. They've been hit by a lawsuit by a Hawaii-based company called Total Recall. I'm sorry. What a name. I'm sorry, but they obviously watched that movie. Anyway, they're being sued for ridiculous amount of money. Yeah, carry on.
If we can just acknowledge the irony here, I think Total Recall should be sued for that name. Just saying.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Continue.
Anyway, let's look. The lawsuit, and this is the global law firm Quinn Editor. I can't even say these names. What weird names are these?
I'm trying to look
basically
at
saying they've been basically saying it's fraud. And other claims. So yeah, it's interesting that the Oculus Rift has been hit with now that it's almost ready. Yeah, when they were starting work on it, they didn't bother, but now it's nearly ready. Now we're going to sue them.
I think I heard something before about a company trying to sue Oculus because, this was my idea.
Yeah.
I mean, in one regard, it's totally possible. It's possible that it's a valid claim, it's a valid lawsuit. I'm not saying it's likely, I'm not saying it's unlikely, I'm saying it's possible. In the other regard, you have a company that could be finding some big success very soon, and a lot of people who probably want a piece of that and are coming up with ways to get that, and it might just be a load of bull. So which way do we go? Which way does the needle point in this case?
All I want to add in is, if it isn't a load of bull, why aren't they suing Sony? Because the Morpheus is pretty much the same thing as the Oculus Rift.
Yeah.
Surely while they're paying the Oculus is breaking, Sony will be breaking or almost breaking as well.
Exactly. I don't know. Which is part of why I think it's just a load of bull. Just saying. Gary, anything here?
Oh, not really. Just an awesome name for a company.
Total Recall. All right. Total Recall
They must
Technologies.
have a statue of Arnold somewhere in the background.
Get to the topic.
Get to the topic, yes. All right, let's do what he said. Really quick, we're almost at the end of our time here. I'm just going to run through this very quickly.
What if I just add one quick thing?
Yes, sir. Go for it.
If you're a Microsoft Windows 7 or Windows 8 owner, you'll get a little message today saying, would you like to upgrade to Windows 10? I would recommend accepting it because even if you don't want to do it now, By reserving your interest, you will be able to accept the free copy anytime you want, and you will not be limited on the start and end date of the free version of Windows 10.
Oh, word? I'm going to do that when we're done.
I didn't get crap from them.
Let's do it.
I just got it popped up on my laptop saying, "Did you know Windows 10 will be available in the end of this month? Would you like to reserve your copy?" Yes or no?
I have to have a Microsoft account for this, huh?
Probably.
I don't know. Probably.
Just a quick.
I don't think I have.
Just a quick illustration of how competition really works in technology. Do you think for a second that Windows would be free right now if the competition hadn't started doing something like that? I mean, Windows, you used to pay something like $400 for Windows Professional, or either Professional or Ultimate, or one of the versions. Now, you're getting Windows 10 for free, which there is definitely no way they would have done that if Apple hadn't started doing that with Mac and OS. I mean, they were making a lot of money off of Windows, but now they have Windows out to more people and they can find other ways to make money. Competition works. So keep competition alive and quit asking for good companies to die just because you don't prefer their products. Come on, people.
Also,
it's killing each other. So
your free version is based on the version you own. So as I've got the Professional, I'll get a free version of the Professional.
There you go. Okay, I'm just going to leave that bit I was going to talk about for another time. It is time for us to go. That was it. That was episode 13 of 4GO. That was a fun episode. I'm glad you guys were here.
Thanks for having us.
I'm glad we found Ben. We almost didn't have Ben.
I got lost.
You got lost.
Too busy looking for goats.
Had to find a goat to get home. Those goats, they have such good sense of direction, apparently. Guys, if you would like to support 4Gamers Only, we would love it if you did. We have a Patreon account, patreon.com/4GO. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's kind of like Kickstarter. You can pledge money. However, instead of just one big lump sum, instead of asking for a lot of money, it asks for just a little bit of money on a recurring basis. So it's kind of like a subscription. You can cancel anytime. You can donate whatever you want, $1, I think, per episode, which would be like $4 a month. That would help us tremendously because that would help us to get on SoundCloud. That would help us to get into a lot of different places and help us to grow. We're going to do stretch goals. I think I've got a promise of a t-shirt there, all sorts of cool stuff. So check out our Patreon. If you don't prefer Patreon, if you just want to stay away from it, we also have a PayPal, which is also our general email address. That's 4gocast@gmail.com. You can contact us there, or you can donate to that via PayPal. You can also contact us on Twitter at 4GOnly, at number 4GONLY. Join the conversation. We will read your tweets on the show next week, as always. Thank you for those of you who sent tweets in this week, and keep tweeting. Guys, we are currently on iTunes. We are also on Stitcher. We are working on getting on SoundCloud. I have just signed us up for Audio Boom. I'm trying to see if we can get our show there. TuneIn Radio is another one. We are trying to get wherever we can get to get our words out there. So check us out wherever you can find us. Subscribe, leave us a review, and we will read your review on the air as well, whether it is positive or negative. That is a promise. Music. Guys, this week our intro, actually all of our music is from Overclocked Remix as usual. Our intro is called Dreamscapes. It's a remix of a song from Anodyne, which was on the PC in 2013, and it was done by Draken. You are hearing it in the background right now. Overclocked Remix is really great for gamers. It's all video game remixes from a lot of talented people. The music is screened, it's sent up on the internet, on the website ocremix.org, and you can check it out and download it for free. Our outro, which you're going to hear in just a moment, will probably bring you some nostalgia. It will probably bring you some feels. It's called Slowpoke Shuffle. It's a remix of the theme from Azalea Town in Pokemon Gold, Silver, and I believe Crystal from Game Boy Color in 1999. It was done by Will Rock, and we are going to play you the whole thing. I think you're going to enjoy it. I liked it. It brought back the feels. So check that out in just a little bit. Guys, you can hear and download all of these songs in full for free at ocremix.org, ocremix.org. Gary,
Yo.
How do you want people to contact you? Just on our 4GO or on your own?
You can do it on 4GO, or you can contact me on my own at Gagwaush on Twitter. That's GAGLAUSH.
And what about Ben? All the million ways to reach you.
You can contact me in all the different ways that exist on the internet. Every way.
All of them.
All of them, all at once if you want. Chili_UK on Twitter. Chili on NeoGAF. Chili on PSN. Ben.shillerbearhall@psu.com. I've been taken at hotmail.com. All the ways.
Just so you know, Chili is spelled CHILLE.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm close to my next giveaway on Unchained. I said if I get to 500 friends on PSN, I will do a giveaway. I'm currently at 499 friends.
What is Unchained?
That other thing that we can talk about some other time. But either way,
Okay.
I have 499 friends, so I'll do a giveaway on here and on that other thing
Okay. So
when I reach 500.
stay tuned
Which
for a
is one.
giveaway from Ben.
One more.
One more.
One more.
One
In fact,
more.
let me check my friends list.
Guys, that is it for episode 13 of 4Gamers Only. Tune in next week for episode 14 where
Oh,
we
look,
can
I've got a friend request.
where we continue to talk about E3 leading up to the big event on June 15 and June 16 of this year. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe, game hard, and lots of love from
Forthright Goats. Only.
What?
AKA 4GO.